France is different for me than any other country because I believe that France is a mixture of tradition as well as modernity. Many countries still keep the pace with tradition while going on towards modernity, but France has France is one of them which has done that and continues to do that. So it's rich in culture, flourishing with architectural beauty. So we are going to discover a bit of France today, French culture and French language today. So let's see what it is. And I'm going to share my screen with you to be able to show you some glimpse of the country. Today we are going to speak about attractions. When we talk about attractions, it is not just the monument, but what attracts us to France? Why are we looking at France today? We are also going to talk about importance of French in India, and we are talking about importance of learning French language in India. They are two different things. We are also going to talk about French for us. When can we learn it very easily? Can we discuss today what already we know in French? And then we'll be opening towards the question answer round also. So to begin with, everybody knows the Eiffel Tower. As soon as we talk about France, the first thing that comes to mind is the Eiffel Tower. Eiffel Tower is one of the most visited monument, but ironically, not one of the most preferred monument by the French. We'll come to that later on. So let's discover some of the other places also in France than Eiffel Tower. It's not just about Eiffel Tower, but there are many more beautiful places and monuments. Look at this one, for example. This is a cathedral of Notre Dame, which is located in Normandy in Rouen. And this is one of the most beautiful monument, most beautiful cathedral of France. And not many people know about it because as a tourist, we stick to only touristic destinations. So look at how high, how beautiful this is under the blue sky. The colors are bright enough to bring the beauty forward to us. Look at this place also. This is Étretat in Normandy, and this is not just a picture. It is a true destination that most of our students have already visited many a times. And you have seen many movies shot here also at this destination. That belongs to France as well. It is Normandy again. Look at this monument in the form of a pyramid actually, but it's not even a pyramid because if you look at from the top, it's like a snail-shaped building moving towards top and forming a church called Mont Saint-Michel. It is on the border of Brittany and Normandy. So with this, you see that not just Eiffel Tower, we have many more monuments. I cannot show all of them here. And this is French Riviera, we all know about because I think it is one of the most famous destinations for Indian in France. Whenever we want to travel, we want to go to French Riviera, Nice and Cannes that we talk about. So this is that. And you have Alps monuments. So you can see that we have monuments, we have sea, we have natural beauty, we have mountains. France is rich in all these beautiful aspects. So this is Alps, and in Alps, this place is called Megève. You can also do ski here in the winters. And look at this beautiful picture with the houses at the back. These are houses, these buildings that you see, these are 16th century old houses. So in France, if you see modern buildings, you also find architecture or houses, the places which are 300, 400 years ancient, and they are still standing as it is, and they add to the beauty of the country for sure, because this is what we miss in India today probably, and this is what we want to go and look at, the heritage, the cultural and the traditional aspect of a country. Talking about Eiffel Tower, as I said, this is irony that this is one of the most visited monument in France. Do you know that Eiffel Tower was built in 1889? 100 years after the French Revolution, and this was the entry gate. It was only the entry gate for the Universal Exposition, and the objective was to just keep it there for some time, and when the exposition is over, we are going to destroy it. But and especially the French people, especially the Parisians, they wanted it to be destroyed immediately after the exposition was over, because they thought this ugly iron structure is destroying the beauty of Paris, where all the monuments are built in beautiful yellow color, beige color, butter color stone monuments, and this iron structure altogether was destroying the beauty of Paris. So they did not want to keep this monument at all. Um, it was only when they realized that they need a building, they need a structure to put the radio antennas on. And in Paris, we did not have any other building which was as high as the Eiffel Tower, almost 324 meters. Because in Paris, the high buildings were not in trend. Even later on in 21st century, we started building some high buildings, the gratte-ciel that we call them, skyscrapers, but this was not continued because Parisians were against it. It was destroying the beauty. So Eiffel Tower became the station for radio antenna, and that's how it was saved. But nobody had imagined that this structure that people hated so much is going to be the symbol of France. And even today, we know France from Eiffel Tower. You look at the image and you can immediately tell this is France. And probably with other monuments which are more beautiful than Eiffel Tower or more famous for other tourists than us in France, we will not be able to identify France. So this is about Eiffel Tower. So Eiffel Tower has a very interesting story. It was built in almost 2 years, 5 months altogether. And the cost was also recovered in 2 years. It had millions of visitors every year. Talking about, this is what we talked about, the architectural beauty, you know, about the most important monuments. We know Louvre, where we can see Mona Lisa, the most famous one. Though people after visiting Mona Lisa are not very happy about why it is so popular, because the size is not very huge. On the other hand, we have paintings in Louvre which are as big as 10 feet by 10 feet. Mona Lisa would be like about 2 feet by 1.5 feet and not more than that. So this is discouraging for the visitors to Louvre. Moving on to food. What does France reserve for us in food? In food, we have many interesting things. We have croissant that you all know probably, because we can get internationalization. Globalization has in fact given one thing to all of us, that sitting in our own country, we can taste the food of all the countries. So that is why you don't have to go to France to eat croissant. You get them in India. You don't have to go to France to eat different kind of cheese that are offered there. They are available in India, but still they're not the same taste. They're not the same flavor. You feel the taste better when you eat it in the country of origin. So croissant, you have baguette, you have cheese, you have wine, macarons, pastries, snails, and ratatouille. The image that you see here is a ratatouille. It is one of the most famous French dish. And in fact, there is a movie made on this name, Ratatouille, where the mouse is the chef. I'm sure you all must have watched this movie. It's very interesting even for kids as well as for adults. So this is ratatouille, which is made with different vegetables. A lot of vegetables are cut into sliced, very thinly sliced pieces with some sauce. And look at the arrangement. It takes a lot of time, but the arrangement is very beautiful and the taste is also amazing. Croissant, baguette are all from pastry department. So you have a lot of different kind of pastries which are available in France, and that is why probably a lot of people go to France to do a course in bakery and pâtisserie. That's what we call in French. For wine, France is famous for wine. We have red wine, we have white wine, we have pink wine, and we have different varieties of all these wines that I'm talking about. And cheese, which is accompanied with almost all dishes and wine, especially at the dessert time. We have more than 350 varieties of cheese in France. Some of them are available in India also, but not all 350 that you can find. Let's have a look at a small video about the food that we get in France. Just a quick video to give you an idea of what is a croissant and what is, okay. I'll just move on to mine.
Okay. Believe me, this garlic butter would taste good on the shoe. Here's the dark chocolate down the middle. So many incredible cheeses. You should get as many as you can while you're here. One of my favorites is Comté. The older, the better. So get the oldest that you can afford. You can definitely just get by the slice and tell them about how big of a piece you want, and they'll cut it for you. It's actually relatively cheap, so try it out. Macarons. Pretty, colorful, tasty. And if you put a picture of these on your Instagram, you're gonna get so many likes. My favorites are La Durée and Pierre Hermé. Macarons are a must. Another thing you have to eat is escargot. Even if it grosses you out, believe me, this garlic butter would taste good on the shoe. Here's how to eat it. Take these clamps, hold your snail in there, have a little fork, and now don't squeeze these, but just reach in there with the fork, and you can just pull it on out. There it is. Don't forget, once you're done, the best thing is take your pieces of bread, dip it in that garlic butter, eat all of it. The produce in this country is incredible.
So here is just a brief idea about what the food is like in France, and especially the bread. As you saw the first one, the long baguette, that's what we call it. Baguette is very crispy and hard from outside, but very soft from inside. And it is one of the specialty and the oldest bread of France. The croissant, the second one that you saw, is also eaten by almost every French, if not every day, every weekend, and every day they take baguette. Macarons, we all know, and I think kids especially love macarons. La Durée is one of the best macaron making organization in France. They have their installations everywhere in Paris, at the airport, in different cities from where you can buy. They are very expensive. It costs you almost 90 rupees or 100 rupees for one macaron, but it's worth it. So if you go there, you have to try eating. Snails that you saw at the end, how we eat snails also is a very different experience altogether. So those who are vegetarian are going to be disappointed, because most of the French delicacies are non-vegetarian. So, but don't worry, now French is also moving towards vegan, and they have started to introduce at least two dishes in two vegetarian dishes in every restaurant. So I am a vegetarian, and it was a very different experience in the beginning, because when we go to the restaurant and we tell them we don't eat eggs, we don't eat fish, and they were like, okay, what do you eat then? What can we get you? They didn't have any option to offer to us. And in the name of soup, when you go to the restaurant, you would prefer a tomato soup or sweet corn, or I don't know what would you ask for. But don't imagine getting these soups in France. If you tell them you want a tomato soup, they will not even understand that exists, because for them tomato is only a juice that you get in glass and it's cold, it's not soup. So for soup you have onion soup and you have pumpkin soup that you can get in France. So this was all about food. I'll go back to my PPT. I would like to share that with you once again. Okay, so here we are with our food items that we just saw, what all you can eat in France, and ratatouille you saw, macarons you saw. The video we have already seen. Let's talk about fashion, because we call Paris the city of mode. Mode is the French word, and you know about the French perfumes also, which are very famous. There's one thing which I would like to share with you, and it's very unique, which I found in French fashion, is that you don't see two people wearing similar kind of clothes in Paris. You just go there and it'll be hard for you. Even if you are looking for two people with similar clothes, you won't find. This is amazing. I don't know why they do it, how they do it, because in India, if there is one thing in trend, everybody seems to be wearing similar clothes, or, you know, with different colors, but the same style. But there is not one style in Paris. And that's why probably this is called the city of fashion, city of mode, because everybody has their own style. Everybody has their own way of dressing. Look at these four girls, for example, you know, they're all wearing different style clothes and they're all dressed up differently. it's the case with everybody in Paris. Everybody, not just in Paris, I would say in France also. They'll have different shoes, they'll have different jackets, different coats and bags, and nothing would match from one to another. Different styles altogether. And then perfumes, you are using probably the French perfumes because they are used by everybody all around the world. Chanel, Dior, Yves Saint Laurent. I don't know you know about this one, but Chanel Numéro 5 is number 5. Chanel is famous and everybody must have heard of it if not used. So you saw that France is between tradition and modernity. This is the first thing which I told you about. So if you talk about Paris, the fashion city, if you talk about the internationally branded perfumes, if you talk about the variety of French cuisine, it looks like the modern city which has everything, a completely international experience giving to you. But on the other hand, it has also something which is attached to tradition. And I would like to tell you about that through this video that you will see just now. And look at this experience of traditional France. Look at this dance. It's a traditional dance form which is called bourrée, and dates from I don't know how many years, around 400, 500 years, but still in practice. In some festivals, in some events being organized, you can still see women dressed in that way, and especially with their headgears, and dancing in a typical French way. So that's why I said in the beginning that the speciality of France is that it has moved on towards modernity, but it has not left the tradition behind. See how villageois style that we call in French is this dance, and takes you back for about 300, 400 years, but difficult to realize that even today you can see this in France. It's more of footwork which is done. You don't see a lot of body moving, but it's the foot which is moving in one particular direction. And in France, we have a lot of places which are called squares. In India also we call them squares, which are huge plain areas surrounded by buildings around, but in the middle there is nothing. And all the festivals are organized in these squares where throughout the night they are dancing, the couples are dancing, and the dance is typical French dance. So if you get to attend one of these events, this is the best experience ever to see French people dancing in similar ways. So we are going to end it here because it's kind of similar dancing. And I move back to my PPT. Yes, so this was about dance, and I would also like to show you, I don't know if you can see. Can you see this doll? Look at the headgear. Look at how there is this small bag, how the dress is. This is a doll from Marseille. Marseille is in the south of France. So this is not just a doll. This is how people used to dress up in France in 18th century in Marseille. So this gives you an idea because Marseille is at the port. It's a seaside. You see this girl is collecting crab and fish in her small bucket, cap type bucket here. I have another one to show you. Look at this one. This is styled differently. Look at the hat. It's pointed towards top. It's different from this headgear. So different regions have different headgears. So people don't wear them today, But earlier, women used to dress up like this. The fashion has evolved a lot, from long dresses with headgears to short dresses, and then the tight dresses. Then it moved back again to long dresses. So this is looking at the headgear, we cannot tell, but the French people will look at the headgear and tell you from where it belongs. So this is very important, you can see. Moving on to, again, our slides. We are going to next talk about the importance of French in India. What does French have to do, France have to do with India? And you know about the history of French in India, that they arrived in India in 1664, about 50 years after the British arrived, and they left in 1954. So when they left in 1954, that means they spent some 290 years in India. So you can imagine that having spent 290 years in India, they must have left some good impact as well as bad impact on people. So they had their 5 colonies that you see here in the picture. They have Mahe, Karikal, Pondicherry, Yannan, and Chandranagar. These were the 5 colonies they were having until the British took over the rest, and only they were left with Pondicherry at the end. So we got independence in 1947, but even after the independence, the French continued to be there in India until 1954. It was only in 1954 that a pact was signed between Indian and French, that French had to leave India, and they had to leave Pondicherry in the hands of Indian government. And at that time, Pondicherrians were given a choice to accept either the French nationality or Indian nationality. They had a choice. Why they had a choice? Because they were with French people for almost 300 years. If they were with French for almost 300 years, they have learned French culture. They had got French education. Everything that they had experienced was French, their forefathers, everything. In that case, how come all of a sudden they could be shifted to Indian culture, Indian way of education? So to avoid this, to avoid any kind of confusion, they were given this choice of either shifting to France and accepting French education, French nationality, or continue to stay in India and accept your Indian nationality. Many were confused because we were fortunate at that time that the French franc was lower than Indian rupees, and we were not very sure about the future of France because they were defeated by British and they had lost in many other wars. So people were confused whether they should go to France or they should stay here. So some chose to be in France, and that's why you have so many Pondicherrians in France today, and some accepted to stay in India. And Pondicherry, that's why, is still has the French feel, because 300 years of French, it is French who built Pondicherry altogether. The police still wears that French cap in Pondicherry, if you see. And you have education also given in French even till date. Now, as I said, that the French were here, so of course they left a good impact on Indian people. So we have famous personalities who were Francophone, and we probably don't even know about them. Raja Ram Mohan Roy, he had visited France himself. He was inspired by this French Revolution. Toru Dutt had written in French. Tagore family we all know about. Not Rabindranath Tagore, but his brother Jyotirindranath Tagore had written extensively in French language. Sri Aurobindo we know about, who actually also in Pondicherry. He spoke French and he could read and write French. Swami Vivekananda had spent his last many years in France, and he has learned French in France, made many friends. Uday Shankar, Ravi Shankar, the brothers, musician brother, singer brother, dancer brother, they have learned their art in France. Amrita Shergill, who is a known famous painter, has learned in Paris. J.R.D. Tata, we know from Tata companies, was born from a French mother and Indian father, and he's born in France. So all these people, eminent personalities, they have been inclined towards French language because French was the language of elite. It was language of literature. It was language of culture. So they wanted to break this supremacy of English language and move towards something which is more cultural. And that is why their interest in language they show by reading literature, by learning language. So this is how French was developing in India through these elite. Moving on to this French language, is it easy to learn? What is the origin of this language? So, but French language is originated from Latin of Roman Empire. So initially it was just few words were taken from Latin and changed. And slowly and gradually in France, people started speaking different dialects of this Gallo-Romance language that we call it, because it was spoken in Gaul and from where it came to us. And then government realized that this is not the way we will be able to develop our language, because everybody is speaking its dialect. What to teach in school? What language to be taught in school? Then in French, we call it l'Académie Française. In English, it will be French Academy. The role of French Academy is to develop French language, to create its dictionary. So they decided that the language which is spoken in Paris will become the language of instruction. So that is how the different regional dialects disappeared from the administrative path, disappeared from the educational path. They remained still in the country. If you go to the south, you will see people speaking a little differently. If you go to north, people will speak differently. But one common language of instruction that remains is Paris, is what is spoken in Paris. This was decided by l'Académie Française. But the first French document, the first document which appeared in French language, was also from 842. So it's long, it's not something recent. It has been there since long. But one official language of France, it is recent in 1992 that we decided to make one language as the language of the instruction, that is in 1992. Now, there are 5 C of French language which I would like to talk about. Is that language learning is not just about going to a country and discovering it. It's a language of communication, of course, because when you go to a country, you want to speak to people in that language. It's a language of career. It's a language of curricular, culture, and curiosity. The 5 C are important. If you really want to know about a culture, if you want to know about civilization, you need to speak their language to delve inside, to go deep inside what they think, what they believe, how they practice. Career-wise, I would like to emphasize more, because a lot of people want to know that why learn French language. So French is not just for speaking with the people of the area, but it's also in your professional era that it helps you. Many students probably ask you that I don't want to go to France, I don't want to continue my studies in France either, and I don't want to become a French teacher. Then why should I learn French? Why should I go ahead and take French? So this is what is your answer to them, that whether they are doing engineering, whether they are doing medicine, whether they are doing commerce, whether they want to go to journalism, whether they want to do jobs in BPOs or embassy, everywhere learning French is an asset. Talking about, first of all, aeronautics. So a lot of people are interested in aeronautical engineering these days. So the best aeronautical industry you will find in France, that is in Toulouse. That you don't have to know French and go to France. You can know French, stay anywhere in India, and still create more opportunities for you, because that country is dealing in aeronautics with France. Then if you talk about automotive engineering or mechanical engineering, we have the best brands in France. People are interested in banking and finance. You don't have to go to France. Even in India, we have French banks. We have BNP Paribas, where you can get better jobs if you know French languages. So this becomes an asset. If you talk about international trade, journalism, media, luxury goods, hotel industries, BPOs, teaching, everywhere French becomes an asset for these students. And moreover, all the international organization, for example, UN, we have WHO, everybody is talking about WHO right now, and we have Olympics, FIFA, all these international Olympic organization, all these organizations have their official language, the second official language, as French. So not just going to France, it takes you to the international diplomatic world. This is the benefit of learning French language. Now, is French language difficult to learn? How is it? Can anybody learn it? I chose to put this coq here because coq is the symbol of France, because Gaulois, as I said, is their origin, and Gaul we used to call the coq also in the beginning, and that's why France has chosen le coq as their symbol. So see, you look at the alphabets here, they're all same as English. So why French is easier than any other language, let's say Mandarin or let's say Japanese or Korean? It is easier because the origin is from Indo-Romanic languages. It is from Latin language. So you have the same alphabets as English. So if you know English, it is easier for you to learn to write in French language. It's just that the pronunciation is different. You don't say A, you say A. You don't say B, you say B. You don't see C, you say say. So the pronunciation is different, but alphabets are still the same. But what is different than English is the accents. Now you look at the picture here. This is a typical French picture where you have wine in one hand, baguette in the other hand, and snail there, and the striped shirts. This is a cliche. And look at the hat also that the person is wearing. This is a cliche about French people, that they look like this and they eat this, they drink wine and they eat snail, and this is their appearance altogether. So not true, just a cliche. So what about accent? What do you mean by accents? You see this small little dot kind of a structure on A and E and I and U and C. These are accents. Now, you can compare them to matras in Hindi, but there is a difference between matras and accents. What is the difference? Matras, you put them as per your choice. When you see that, you want to say A, you put that matra of A. You want to say O, you put matra of O. You want to say U, you put matra of U. In French, these accents also have similar sound. They have sound of A, but you cannot put them according to your need. They already exist on some words, and you have to learn the spelling of those words just with the accent. So this is one major difference that we have. So students find this a little weird, that how come they have sound and we cannot use them as per our need? We cannot. They already exist on the words, and the spelling is to be learned like that only. But there is one thing which I'd like to tell you, that you all here, whether you have learned French before or not, you all know French already. And you will agree with me here. Look at the first word, RSVP. I'm sure all of you have heard of this word, RSVP. Have you or have you not? So, yes, so RSVP means Répondez s'il vous plaît. It's in French. RSVP, répondez s'il vous plaît, reply please. So all the invitations that you get on the card, you see RSVP written at the bottom, and then you have the contact number. So RSVP is from France. It is the French version, which says répondez s'il vous plaît, reply please. Look at the next one, déjà vu. It's in movies, we talk about it. In newspaper, we use this word. Déjà vu is already seen. It's a French word. Then grand, which in English we say grand. It's a French version of grand. Grand in French and grand in English. Grand. And then elite. Elite is elite in English, and elite class that we talk about. Elite is also a French word. Adieu. Adieu, you have seen this in movies where hero is saying adieu to his girlfriend, and they promise that they are not going to meet ever again. So adieu, yes, it means to fare bid to someone, to fare goodbye to someone, and it's a French word. Eau de toilette that you see almost on all your perfumes that you buy, whether it is a French perfume or it is not, you will be able to see this expression eau de toilette on your perfume. Apéritif. Apéritif is aperitif in English, is the same word. Aperitif in French, we call it apéritif. So the starters has come from France. Faux pas. Faux pas is a word which is used very frequently in the fashion industry. When they want to talk about a heroine and they want to talk about her dressing sense, and they want to say that this is not, she shouldn't have done, this is not going well, she shouldn't have done that, she shouldn't have worn that. It is a faux pas. Faux pas is not to be done. So in French, this expression faux pas, you see that in fashion industry used very often. Aviation is a word that we use in English. It is not an English word. Aviation is a word from French, because aviation industry is from France. From Toulouse is the city of aviation industries. Ballet, the ballet dance that we talk about, it's a French word. Cabaret, cabaret has originated from France, of course. You have heard about Moulin Rouge, the Red Mill. Moulin Rouge, I think it's a name which is used in movies also. Moulin Rouge is a very famous French cabaret which is situated in different parts, but in the one in Paris near Sacré-Cœur is the most famous. You see the woman dancing cancan. Cancan in English is can-can dance, in red beautiful dresses, and again this is a dance where you have to lift your leg to as high as possible. So cabaret is a French word. And chauffeur, we use this word very frequently. You know, the chauffeur hasn't come, or the chauffeur is taking the car today. So chauffeur means driver in French, is also a French word. So you already know French. It is already there with the language that you're reading or the language that you're speaking. So this is how the French language is not very tough. You can see it here that especially for Indians, it is easy to speak because it has many spoken sounds, soft spoken sound that do not exist in English. So English speaking people speak French weirdly because they cannot say the, they will only say de. So when it is the, it is easy for us to say because we have the also and we have de also, so we can pronounce both of them correctly. But for English speaking people, it is very difficult for them. Similarly, her and fur, we can say both, but the French English people cannot say both. So there are so many sounds, te and the. That is another sound that people cannot say in English speaking countries. So Indian have an asset here also, that our Hindi language is so flourished that it allows us to speak any language with ease, because we have soft consonants also and we have hard consonants as well. So it becomes easier for us to learn French language. So here it is all that French language is not at all difficult to learn, first of all. Secondly, it is not just about going to France or interacting with people. It opens up gates to opportunities in all domains, which I mentioned here also, whether you're talking about engineering, whether you're talking about medicine. I did not mention about medicine. Those who want to become a doctor, there is an organization called Médecins Sans Frontières. In English, it will be Doctors Without Borders. So this organization is taking people from all over the world, and this is a worldwide organization. So that's why I say that French does not just take you to France, it takes you to any domain you want to. It opens up the doors to opportunities, and it's a language of culture as well. If you want to learn about a beautiful culture, a beautiful civilization, this language allows you to do that.